Well, I'm happy to have this young man. If you watched our What Men Really Want panel, then you saw this young man on there. He was cool, calm, and collective, and y'all talked about him on, at the beauty shops and everywhere else. But he's here with us in another role, and we want to talk about this generation because I'm very, very much in tune, try to stay in tune to what this generation is doing. And so we want to talk about pop culture today. And he has a book called Econ, the icon from pop culture to President Barack Obama. Eddie Connor was born in Southfield, Michigan, but grew up in Kingston, Jamaica. The British education that Eddie received during his formative years in Jamaica can be attributed to his thirst for knowledge. Welcome, Eddie Connor. Welcome, sir.
Hey, I'm glad to be here, Bishop.
Glad to have you, man.
Yes, sir.
You survived. Did you get many hate mails from the show?
You know what? They were pretty kind. I think it was.
They were kind to you?
They were kind. I think it's the baby face.
You think? You wasn't acting like no baby face on the show, though.
Well, it was definitely cutting edge and controversial.
Yes,
so
sir. And people are still talking about it. We're going to do it again. Tell us about your book, Econ, the Icon.
You know, that book, Econ, the Icon, from pop culture to President Barack Obama, really redefines what it means to be an icon in a celebrity-driven culture, not based on what you have, but based on the value that you have on the inside of you. You know, our society and our culture has really just gone from keeping up with the Joneses to keeping up with the Kardashians. And, more in this generation now than ever before, as we look at pop culture to Obama, look how we've gone from segregation to discrimination to inauguration, from the slave house to the White House, and even looking at young people to where a lot of them aren't necessarily grasping and understanding what the rudimentary principles were from the four generations that came before them. We got a whole bunch of young people who can rap, but they won't read. They can bounce a basketball on the court, but they won't bring their books to class. They can teach you how to Dougie, but they got D's on their report card. So, they're caught up in a lot of the superficial things of life. But we want to really, that book helps to understand and really broach the gift, the value, the passion that you have on the inside to propel you to succeed in life.
Where did the shift happen? Because in my generation, 70s, 80s, I was born in the 60s, 70 and the 80s, grew up as, in Detroit from 71, graduated in the 80, 81. Mm-hmm. Where did it shift to, not only did mama get you on the way home, right, but the neighbor, and then daddy when he got home, and then you might have got, my grandfather tell you, go get a switch off the tree, or he'd grab the ironing cord. Yes. Nowadays you do that, you're going to jail, number right, one. Or number two, they be packing. You're going to get killed for trying to, where did things change?
Well, I think a lot of things changed, especially in '68. And we can look even in the city of Detroit with the '67 riots that took place. A lot of those, the Black Bottom that was here in Detroit, a lot of the thriving businesses.
Grandfather grew up in Black Bottom.
Absolutely. Yeah. Those buildings were burnt down. And in many cases, a lot of those people who are from the civil rights movement, a lot of that was not translated to the next generation, those values, those principles. And then, of course, we look in the 80s with Reaganomics. We look in the 80s with a lot of drugs and negativity coming into the black communities, coming into just communities at large, and the value of education diminishing to where we see education as an option instead of a necessity. It's a necessity more than ever before, due to the fact that now, according to Dr. Jawanza Kunjufu, they're building prisons based on third-grade reading scores. We can look, especially in the black community, pre-literary exposure versus white kids. White kids have about 5,000 hours worth of pre-literary exposure versus black kids who have about 300 to 350 hours of pre-literary exposure. So the negativity that's going on, especially in our communities, we have not taken just the whole crux and the reins of understanding the value of education, understanding the value of self, understanding that you have value that's on the inside of you, that you have self-determination. But you got to use that determination, use that gift to translate that into your community. We put the brothers down so much for the sagging pants, but in many cases we look at the sagging pants, but really behind that, the sagging dreams. If we help that brother pull his dreams up, I guarantee you the pants will come up.